Who's up next in the Golden Chair? Behavioral financial advisor helping women improve their personal and financial wealth, Pamela Sams. I am your host, Christina Vidovich, of Women Getting Visible. Hello, my friends around the world. I am Christina. You should probably just guess from that introduction of Women Getting Visible. And I am so excited to have with me today, Miss Pamela Sams. Well, hello, Pam.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I am so excited. You have just sparked so many people at the recent Women Getting Visible conference. I had so many people afterwards going, oh my gosh, she was amazing. Can I have her number? And I'm like, no, you got to talk to her. But so many people are excited. And one of the things I love that you do is the behavioral piece when it comes to finances and your wellness and the abundance of you.
Yeah.
So let everybody know where you are in the world and a little bit more about what it is that you do.
Where I'm at in the world, I am in Northern Virginia, as right outside of DC, Ashburn, Virginia, to be exact. That's where my office is. What I do for the last 23 years is really empowering women with their money. The behavioral piece came a little bit later on, but the conversations were always there in terms of how do we make our decisions with our money? How did we grow up with money? What are our mindset around money? That was the presentation that I did at the conference. It's really understanding where people are with their money from a behavioral standpoint, because money's funny, as it is. And a lot of times it starts with when we're younger and what we learn from our family, from our environment. And sometimes those things aren't very healthy. So what I do is really kind of strip that away from women trying to understand their finances to move themselves forward. We need to understand the behavioral and the mindset piece first.
Yes, it's so interesting because when we think about those behaviors that we didn't even know that we were picking up from our parents or our grandparents or somebody saying, oh, like really, do we need that? Are we spending that? Or that's too expensive? Or who cares? You want it, get it.
Yeah, exactly. All the above.
Yes. And for you, so what was your upbringing like when it came to the financial piece?
Yes. So I grew up in a big household. So I'm number 7 of 8 kids. So it was my father. He was a letter carrier. My mother had jobs here and there, depending on when she was taking care of us. And so we grew up a little bit frugal. So my parents were part of the generation where grew up during the Depression. So every nickel, every dime, we kind of squirreled away. I love them for it, but I am going to put the label that they were a little bit, of misers, so to speak. So we didn't have a whole lot of extra spending that we did. We had the things, that we wanted. So it really put us in the mindset of earning the things that we need from our parents, and sometimes it does come into play with my spouse as well, in terms of things like can we buy this now, or do we do this delayed gratification, which a lot of people unfortunately in our society don't know the meaning of that. I grew up kind of on the layaway generation, on you put money away, you put this thing, and then next thing you know, maybe 6 or 7 months later, you can get a coat. So that delayed gratification. But now in our society, you can put on a credit card, you can do whatever. And so it's I have to have it now situation. So I attribute my upbringing to a little bit more of a delayed gratification for me. I don't have to have it right now. If I don't have the resources, I like to use resources versus I can't afford it, because it's all about words. It's that we have to plan and save for it. And that's the way that I have addressed that.
I love that. That's a word I haven't heard in a while, layaway.
Yeah, exactly. I'm dating myself.
But it's so fun because, it's reminding me of being a kid and, I knew where the layaway window was, and my
Hmm.
mother would get our winter coats growing up in Cleveland.
Yep.
And, August we'd be getting them, and then little by little she'd be paying it. And then, oh, lo and behold, there's the sale price. Mom's getting the sale price on that. And now she can take it out of layaway. So it was, really, really her who taught
Yes.
me spending, how to spend and be patient with things. And
Mhm.
going, you know what? That skirt's going to go on sale next week. I know it. I know how this works. Just wait 1 week.
Exactly. And I've done, presentations on kind of the right time it's a timing thing as well. It's marketing. So of course to buy it, the best time to buy a winter coat would be summer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there are certain times of the year that would be better for you. That would end up saving you a lot more money. But, we're in a mindset of, it's winter, I buy a winter coat. That's probably not the best time to buy it because it's not on sale. You may look a little foolish in the store buying a winter coat in summer or sweaters in summer, but that is the best time to buy them.
Yeah, absolutely. Thinking ahead, and even those clearance sales in the spring.
Hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So, what was it that really got you into it? Because one thing I absolutely love is I love women who teach finance to others. Because I
Hmm.
think it's such an important piece that the only way that we learned it before as children was just from those who are around us. And
Hmm.
then it takes us as adults to go, okay, I've got to get smart. And how am I going to do that? So, what was it that got you into deciding that you wanted to be a financial advisor?
Yes. So my story kind of is a little bit unconventional. I mean, I have a degree, an MBA in financial management. Thought it was going to be marketing because that's what my undergraduate is, and then started the finance classes and taking them from there. Thought I was going to go on a whole different track. The whole Wall Street investment banking, suspenders. If you ever seen Wall Street, you kind of know all the high powered suits. Probably in the '80s, where it was, with women, it was the big shoulder pads. But nonetheless, that was kind of what I was envisioning for myself. Then I had two beautiful babies back to back in graduate school, so that was not going to happen in terms of devoting probably 60 or 80 hours a week, doing the investment banking piece. So I took a sabbatical for a while, trying to figure out. Oprah always says, "What is your next best step?" So I took some time. Unfortunately, during that time period, my dad got sick and passed away, leaving my mom a widow after 50 years of marriage, trying to figure out finances on her own. And then that was kind of my aha moment, was this is where I can step in and really assist in helping my mother figure out the finances on her own, coming again from that generation where most of the household finances were covered by men. Not to say that she was, ignorant to the finances, but she was kind of the day to day. This is what's going on in the household versus the kind of the future looking things like that. So I was able to kind of help her figure out what dad had left, what the insurances were, what the pensions were. And then I figured there were other women similar to their mother that may not have had a Pam in their lives that would be able to kind of help them navigate that transition. So 2 years later, I basically hung out my shingle with the intent to really educate women around their money.
Yeah. And you're talking about a time period where women couldn't sign for houses, for mortgages, for
Exactly.
credit cards, for any of that kind of thing.
Correct.
So, it was, I don't want to say ignorance is bliss, because it wasn't
Hmm.
even an option, though, for some women to
Correct.
do
Yeah.
anything.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. That's true. It wasn't an option with that. But we as women are very savvy when it comes to how to stretch the dollar, so to speak. And my mother was definitely good at that. With 8 kids, and how everybody going to get clothes and shoes and all of that sort of thing. But in terms of kind of the like I said, the financial planning piece of that, what do I have in terms of resources, and how is that going to last for the rest of my life type of thing. So that was some of the things I was able to show her.
Yeah, I love that. It's such a but what a neat story, because you got thrown into it, but you got to
Hmm.
use all that skill set that you already had gained from your
Correct.
own life, and going, okay, how can we do this? And I think that's so beautiful that that has allowed you to step into that space to help people with that.
Hmm.
What So what is one of the most gratifying things that you have seen in your career in helping someone?
Hmm. Oh my gosh. I mean, I just had lunch yesterday with a client that he's been a client of mine for the last 20 years. So I've been doing this for 23, as I said.
Wow.
So the rewarding piece now is that he is in the point where he can, pull the trigger on retirement. So really being there through all of the last 20 years, seeing the ups and the downs and the saving and the sacrifices, now to the point where he can retire. Same thing with the young family that I was dealing with when I first met them. They had 2 kids and they have 8 kids now. So and then really helping them form education plans. So I think 3 of them have graduated already for college. One is going in to college. They have several more, of course, but to be there and to see the fruits of their labor, putting in the work and the money for their retirement. I'm sorry, the college education plan for their kids, and seeing that come to fruition. So that's the most rewarding thing that I do, is kind of seeing these things, kind of plotting, but seeing the end result of a sending kids to college or retirement or buying that first home. That's kind of the pride and joy that I have in my career.
Which is so rewarding. I mean, when you can help somebody do those things that they can only dream about and just almost want to
Hmm.
cry. I mean, back to just like the whole emotional piece when it comes around money. I mean, just how do you work through those pieces? I mean, because I'm sure that's part of like someone's internal struggle of going,
Hmm.
how am I going to do this?
Yeah, and that has definitely been an issue. But yeah, I think with as a financial planner, of course, you do with the numbers, but it is also an emotional piece, and you're also, somewhat of a motivator and a cheerleader. When they are to the point where you're like, I don't know if this is going to happen, really showing them it is possible, and showing them and working through. It's like, if we do small tweaks here, make a little sacrifice here, then everything is going to work out in the end. But, it's just like, when you're in a gym with the trainer, it's like, you could do 5 more of these sit-ups and you're like, I don't think I can do this. And you're pushing and pushing, and then yeah, yes, you can do that. So yes, you do have to work through some of the emotional pieces with clients, at a point where they may feel that they're never going to be able to retire, or I'm not going to have enough resources or money for this, and then showing them that, yeah, things are possible for them.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because one of the things that I learned about finances is that just like everything, we have patterns,
Hmm. Yes.
patterns in our life, and that one of the interesting patterns are people tend to overspend when they're hungry
Yep.
or when they're bored.
Correct. Yes. And yeah, retail therapy is also a big thing, So when we are in our feelings, a lot of times we go out and we make ourselves feel better. You go buy a new outfit, or new clothes, or like you said, that binging on Ben and Jerry's or whatever it is. So we tend to overspend on those emotional times where we are in our feelings, unfortunately. So you have to understand, what your triggers are, and see if you can curb those. I know it goes back to the age old philosophy, psychology, is that you need to understand where your triggers are, and when you go to the fact where, okay, now maybe you didn't get that raise, or maybe you didn't get the promotion, and now you're like, I need to make myself feel good. I'm out here buying some new shoes or whatever. What is that trigger? Can you replace it with something else? Um, to save yourself some money.
Yeah. So here's my question. So if somebody is thinking about like, oh my gosh, I am trying to buy a car. My car doesn't even, it's like on its last leg. I don't even know what I can do. I don't know if I can afford the car payments. I'm like, oh, all these things in my life. And I'm
Yeah.
finally going to give myself it's okay to talk to a financial advisor. Because I'm sure there's a bit of that, like, it's okay to seek help. What
Hmm.
is a process when somebody comes to you that they go so that we can come away from somebody of going, okay, if I came to Pam today, what would Pam do with me? Where would she start?
Hmm. Yes. So I always start with the budget. What do you have? What do you have coming into your household? What do you have going out? What do your expenses look like? And then that's where you can try to figure out, can you afford another car note? Are there ways that you can reduce your discretionary spending? Because we all have it. We are spending way too much on eating out, or like I said, those feel good things where you may want to go out and buy some things. Unfortunately, we have so much with our computers these days, so we can just push a button, the next thing you know, a package is at our door. So these conveniences, yeah, and so those are the fluff that I see in people's budgets sometimes, is that if you only curb some, reduce or eliminate the discretionary expenses, then yes, then you can kind of look at, can you afford a car note in that, and then how you're going to finance it, what your credit looks like. So really kind of walking through all of those different steps on that. But first, you have to understand, what do you have coming in, what do you have going out, and then let's see if we can, you can afford that. I had that situation just recently. One of my existing clients called. He's at his midlife crisis, and he wants this nice sports car. Nice sports car. Called me, can I afford this nice sport car? Yes, you can, but here are some things, that you may want to consider. So, you're probably 10 to 15 years from retirement. Could that car note payment be better use for, let's say, an investment? Um, an appreciating type of vehicle versus a depreciating type of vehicle, like that. You already have a vehicle. I know you want this, but it is also an emotional thing. You're going through a midlife crisis. It's a want. I want this type of car, but here are the kind of the options that you have. I'm not telling you either way which way to go, but these are some things to consider when you think about it.
Yeah, which is so brilliant. And it's so funny because I think about this and I'm always so shocked. And this is such a simple thing. When I step into the grocery store and go, vegetables are so inexpensive and they're the healthiest things for you to
Yeah.
eat. It's the frou-frou stuff and the ordering out and going, oh gosh, I'm so hungry. Forget it. Bink. And
Yep.
because
Pink.
it's going to
There
show
you go.
up.
Yeah, and then food shows up at your door. So
Oh, but just really, it's funny because it's like we rationalize why we can have it, but trying to figure out the rationalizations of like, okay, why it's not necessary and things that we can do for the other things that we want in life, like, the big ticket items for sure. It's
exactly.
just wow. So here's my always ask question because I have some fun follow-ups with you because
Yeah.
you've got some amazing things going on
Hmm.
your own visibility scale.
Hmm.
So, and I know the numbers, kind of up there from everything that you're doing,
Yeah.
but so where you are on 1 not being visible and 10 being completely visible on your own scale, where do you see yourself?
Hmm. It's pretty high. I would probably say 8 or 9, in terms of visibility. So I'm out there, really, getting the platforms, being at your summit and being at other events as well, really trying to get the message out. So pretty high on the visibility scale.
Yeah, and that's what I was like, I'll just let you go with that one because I love this because every time I look online, I'm like, there's Pam at another event. There's Pam at another event. She's speaking over here and she's speaking over there and she's smiling for more pictures.
Hmm.
And I absolutely love that. You have really stepped into that visibility piece.
Hmm.
And what is it for you that drives you to go and speak and do these things? Because I know there's that educational piece,
Of course. Yeah.
that you want to share with everybody. But I think you have a grand message that you're really sharing. And some of that drive that you feel from doing all these events.
Yes. So kind of my visibility journey. It started probably in 2011,
Okay.
when I started Toastmasters. So I came to the realization that I have a message and a larger platform that I want to reach women with their money. So speaking would be one of those things. So I didn't do a whole lot, the one-off seminars and things like that locally. But I committed to really becoming more visible in 2011 with joining Toastmasters. So that was kind of the first thing. Then after that, joining a few speaker bureaus to get myself out there with the different events and finding those as well. But what drives me is that it's that larger message. I have seen it personally with my mother and friends and family, with women struggling about understanding their money, making good money, very successful career women, but it missing the financial literacy piece for the longer term. So, that's what I do, every morning is, I do prayer, meditation. And one of the things is that, who do I need to speak to? Who do I need to touch today? What kind of message I need to get out there? So that's really what drives me on getting into these larger platforms so I can get my message out. Understanding that it's simple things that you can learn in order to develop and grow your wealth and prosperity. And so that's what I get up every day. It's like, who can I speak to, and what kind of platform can I get at and put my message out there into the world?
I love that. And well, I'm, being the visibility person that I am, I love that because, I will never forget. And I wish I knew her name, but I will never forget when I see her again. She's this sweet little 4 foot, I don't even know if she's 4'8". And, she's the tiniest one in the room. And she said, if
Mhm.
you don't shout your own message,
Yeah.
who's going to shout it for you? And I'm like,
Mhm.
yes, yes.
Yes.
She had on bright colors. Every time you'd see her, as tiny as she was, she had on bright colors. She let everybody know she was in the room in some
Yep.
form or fashion. And she was just an interesting little character, but it made you notice and going, I want to
Mhm.
know more about you because there's something here, the messaging that you want to give. And I love that, and it's such a great opportunity to be able to share voices like yours and the messaging that you have. And I'm so, so happy to know you because then I've met a bunch of people who are like, oh, Pam, and I
I
said,
know, and I am so humble because every time I go to an event, a lot of times it seems like I'm a celebrity for some reason. I don't know, maybe because I am very visible out there. But I am definitely humbled when people do come up to me. It's like, I've seen you here, or heard you speak, and I love your message. That just knows that I'm doing something right here.
yeah, and it's incredible. So if you have to give one piece of advice to someone, and I know it's easier when you have the books in front of you and you can look at them, but if you had to
Yeah.
give people, anyone out there, one piece of advice of how to get themselves correct with their finances, what advice would you be giving? Or do you
Uh,
say not would be that you do give
that
because that's what you
that I do give, exactly. To make themselves correct, is really be patient with yourself. I would say
do.
that because a lot of times we beat ourselves up, and especially women, I see it all the time. Is that sometimes seeking help or guidance, you feel some kind of way in terms of either being ashamed that you didn't do something, or ashamed that you don't know something. So I always say, I always, when people come to me or women come to me, we only start where you are now. Forget whatever happened in the past. Forget whatever decision that you felt that was not in your best interest. That past is past. We're not looking back that way. They always say that that's why your river mirror is smaller than your windshield. It's
Mhm.
because we're looking forward, we're not looking backwards. So I always take people from where they are. Forget the past mistakes. So be patient with themselves. And then that's where you start doing the work on the mindset piece, as I mentioned before. What are your views about money? What is your relationship with money? Do you have, if somebody mentioned, one of my clients when she first came to me, unfortunately, she had a, really bad relationship with money. In her household, whenever money was spoken about, her parents would argue. She didn't want to have anything to do with the word money, into the fact where she would really break out into hives, and it wasn't a very good situation for her. So we need to kind of strip that first, understanding where the mindset came from. Eventually we were able to kind of talk about money without the hives and then move forward from there. So understand what the mindset is, and then that's where you can start getting into kind of the number piece of it. How much am I bringing in? How much am I spending? What do I need for the long term for retirement? What do I need to save for college for kids? And then that's where you kind of do the heavy lifting from there. But the one thing I would say is really kind of understand, be patient with yourself on the past mistakes, and then work on your mindset.
Those are two beautiful words: be patient and mindset. I mean,
Mhm.
that's, I think those are good life lessons, period.
Yeah, exactly. Not just finances. Understand that probably everything that you do is both of those things.
Yeah. So what's next for you? What's coming up? Do we have some books coming out, some more workshops coming up? Where can we find Pam? Then what's going on?
Oh my gosh. Let's see. I do have a podcast. It's called Her Money, Her Choice. I have it with two colleagues. It's a podcast. They're bite-sized, micro pieces, maybe about 15 minutes or so, of a topic related to women and their money. Along with my two colleagues, we also have a financial workbook that we are working on. ETA is probably January of 2026. And so we're currently in the editing stages on getting that out. Again, probably related to Her Money, Her Choice is a working title, but that may not be the final title. But a book is coming early 2026.
Fantastic. Her money. Please say that one again.
Her Money, Her Choice.
Her choice.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that is a powerful title. Her money, her choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So is in the style of your podcast, you're doing it with a partner. So is
Yeah.
it the two of you speaking? Do you ever bring other guests on? How does that?
No, it's actually me and then two other colleagues. So
Mhm.
we're just kind of having a girlfriend talk, basically, just like if we had somebody over for tea or coffee, and we're just, in it in terms of figuring out where women need to focus in on their money. So it can be, do I co-sign for my kid, or do I do I buy a home with a partner that's not my spouse? So fun topics that we think women would resonate with.
I love that because there's nothing quite like girlfriend.
Exactly. Yes, you can get down to the nitty gritty. Even in our book, some of the titles are fun, like check your money, honey, or your backup bucks, and bougie, bad and bougie. It's fun stuff.
I love that. I love that. So anybody watching or listening, you have to check out Pam's podcast, Her Money, Her Choice. And
Mhm.
also, where can they find you? Where can someone find you if they want to say, you know what, I like what she has to offer. I would love to find out more about her services. How can someone find you?
Yes. So I'm on social media, Jackson Sam's Wealth. My firm is Jackson Sam's Wealth Strategies, but on Instagram and Facebook, it's Jackson Sam's Wealth. And of course, my website is jacksonsams.com, a wealth of information. There are also, little vignettes and little tests that you can take for an assessment of where you are. And also a form where you can request a complimentary consultation as well.
Fantastic. jacksonsams.com.
That's correct. Yes.
Fantastic. All right, my friends. Thank you, Pam, so much for joining today. I am enlightened and I'm keeping my money in my bags right now.
Yes, and we're coming up on the holiday season, so people tend to overspend during the
Yes.
holidays. And so one holiday suggestion is that by now is November, really start to figure out what are you going to be spending money on. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people are going through it with layoffs and furloughs and all of that sort of thing. So be realistic when it comes to what you can do during this season. Don't overextend yourself because you think you're obligated to do so. Work within something that's reasonable for you.
And that's beautiful advice to end this episode. Thank you so much, Pam. And thank you, everyone who's watching and listening today. I'm Christina, and this is Women Getting Visible. Who will be up next in the Golden Chair? Join us next week. I am your host, Christina Vidovich of Women Getting Visible.